particularly for the employees. For them, once they get their salary, gross salary, then the money is taxable. But when it comes to partners in a partnership, consultants, then there is a provision that income that they get or they generate, then from that income, there are expenses that they have incurred to generate that income. And then the law provides that they should deduct the expenses from the income, and then whatever is left, it's a profit or a loss. So usually the tax is applicable on the profits. So once there is profit, then there is tax.
In this world, nothing can be said to be certain except for death and taxes. What a powerful quote by Benjamin Franklin that sets the tone for today's conversation. Tax planning is a critical part of our finances, and if neglected, the consequences can be dire. Hello, fellow trailblazers. Welcome to another episode on My Money Adventures podcast. My name is Tukiso TK Ntebe, and also known as the Finance Bachelor. On this podcast, we talk everything finances, well-being, and wealth creation. And as mentioned, our taxes are very, very important. So if you're a new subscriber to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and join the community of trailblazers so that you can navigate your finances with confidence. In studio today, I have two guests from Revenue Services Lesotho to help us navigate taxes, understand what they are, why they're important, how to go about filing our tax returns, and all that jazz. So without wasting any more time, Dad, Money Adventures with TK.
Much appreciated, TK.
For what was I was saying, for people who don't know you, maybe let's start with an introduction. Wana Umang, and from which office within the Revenue Services Lesotho do you come from?
Thank you very much. My name is Mahale, and my surname is Matinalapi. I come from Revenue Services Lesotho in Client Education and Marketing Office. So that's where I am, and that's where I come from.
Client education. I love that. So as is tradition on the podcast, for people who come to the podcast, the question I was saying all the time is, what is your relationship with money?
That's a challenging question. All the time that is, I've been asked the same question. But I would say that my relationship with money, it's in progress. It's not where it's supposed to be. At the same time, it's not where it used to be. Because so far, if I'm able to manage my bills and to make some small investments, though they are not as one would assume they should be, then I would say that I'm not where I should be. At the same time, I'm not where I used to be. Sure.
I love that progress. So the thing that we are talking about taxes, and as a financial advisor, I see a lot of people thinking that tax is complicated. Okay? So I would want us for conversation today for it to be to simplify tax. What is tax? What laws should we know as trailblazers, and how do we talk about tax giving, and also what is Revenue Services Lesotho's mandate in that regard? So maybe paint us a picture of tax.
Okay. So tax is very, like you're saying, complicated, but it is very, you can understand it. The more we understand it, the more it becomes more simpler. Actually, tax is the payments that we make from the income that we generate. When I talk about we are talking about we as individuals, we as the owners of the cooperatives or the companies or corporations. So that's what, or whatever the amount you've made or the revenue you've generated from that revenue, that's where now we realize the taxes. So we have quite a number of laws which Revenue Services Lesotho administers to make sure that those taxes are collected. So we actually have, maybe beginning with the customs and excise law, which deals with the taxation of goods and services which are coming outside of the SACU member states. So from there, we also have VAT, which is value-added tax applicable to the goods and services consumed within the borders of Lesotho, and also goods which are imported from outside the borders of Lesotho. That is VAT. And then we also have levy, which has just been introduced in 2013. That is tobacco and alcoholic product levy, which is actually taxes paid on the consumption of alcohol and tobacco products. And then we have Income Tax Act of 1993, which maybe will be the focus of today's presentation.
Sure.
So that's income taxes. There are so many categories under income tax. We have corporate income tax, which is now will be tax paid by the corporations or the companies. And then we are going to have individual income tax, which is also a tax paid by individuals. And then these individuals could be employees, could be consultants, could be sole traders, and so on and so forth. And then we have the monthly or quarterly taxes that are paid. We have pay as you earn, which is paid by the employers on behalf of the employees. And then we have fringe benefit, which is also a tax on benefits that are provided to the employees. And then we also have withholding taxes, which are actually the taxes at source. Yes, so those are the categories under income tax.
So there's somebody who's listening to this conversation and thinking, why am I paying taxes? What is the tax money collected used for? So the RSL revenue services to collect that. Where does it go?
So revenue services to collect the revenue, and then this revenue is actually to support the government policies to make sure that there is development in the country. So the government responsibility now would be to do what it's supposed to do, to make sure that services are there for the people, to make sure that our elderly citizens are well catered for, those who are economically disadvantaged are also catered for. And then we have infrastructure and development in different ways. We have education. Right now you can hear there is a lot of commotions in these tertiary schools where now students are crying for their stipends from the manpower, and that's the money that the government is collecting through Revenue Service Lesotho as taxes.
So I like that this money is used for all these things, because I think a lot of people don't understand education, healthcare, and all of that. So how I'm focusing particularly on personal income tax, or from income tax, focusing on the personal income tax. How are individuals taxed?
Individuals, we are talking about employees, we are talking about consultants, like I said, we are talking about partners in a partnership, we are also talking about the sole traders. And these individuals generate money, or they generate income. And then particularly for the employees, for them, once they get their salary, gross salary, then the money is taxable. It's a taxable income. Of course, there are provisions like if there is any contribution towards a complying superannuation fund, then that deduction will be the first, and then the rest will be taxable income. But when it comes to partners in a partnership, consultants, then there is a provision that income that they get or they generate, then from that income, there are expenses that they have incurred to generate that income. And then the law provides that they should deduct the expenses from the income, and then whatever is left, it's a profit or a loss. So usually the tax is applicable on the profits. So once there is profit, then there is tax.
Okay.
Sure.
I was on the website, RSL, and every year again, financial planning, every year I keep tabs on the marginal tax rates. I know X amount is taxed at 20%, X amount is taxed at 30%. How does that apply? And why should people know and care about that particular rates?
Yes, the marginal rates are actually applicable on individuals' income. So that chargeable income that I've just talked about, that is the profits in simple terms. Then we apply what we call marginal rates of 20% and 30%. So the 20% marginal rate is applicable to the maximum of 69,120 for this year, 2023, 2024. So that means any income from 1 loti up to 69,120 then it will be taxable at the rate of 20%. So if your profits is 50,000, that means you are just going to apply 20%
20%.
only. So anything less than 69,120, then it's taxable at the rate of 20%. So excess, that means anything extra than 1,000, that's 69,120, then it is taxable at the
So
30%.
So if I got a bonus of 100,000,
So if you got a bonus of 100,000, then you will take care of that 69,120 at the 20%. And then the excess, that is the difference between the 169,120 and the 100,000. Then it will be
30%.
taxable at the rate of 30%.
Okay.
And there is also a non-refundable personal tax credit applicable.
Yes. I think we don't talk about enough. We don't make enough noise of that tax credit. So maybe we're gonna just focus now what it is, because a lot of people don't actually know there is a tax credit that they receive every year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tax credit is actually like a tax rebate. That means you are saying you're supposed to pay 20,000 in taxes as an individual, but now the government say, because in order to reduce the tax burden on individuals, then we can apply, or the government gives that rebate of maybe 10,800 and something as a rebate. That means if you're supposed to pay 20, then you take that non-refundable. It's non-refundable because
You won't get any cash.
Yes, you're not going to get any, if there is any excess. Because, for example, if say you're supposed to pay 5,000 in taxes, and then the tax credit is 10,000. That means there is a difference of about 5,000. So it's non-refundable. You're not going to get that 5,000 in a refund. Sure.
But be that as it may, it's a benefit that we have. And we need to tap into it, because imagine I have to pay 20, able to know you can offer discount.
Of course.
At 10,
I think you
then
got
I'll
the
pay 10,
right 10 discount.
Exactly,
Sure,
discount,
sure.
non-refundable discount. Okay, so I think as we wrap up this first half of the conversation, is there's a lot of Basotho who work outside of Lesotho or work abroad. How are their taxes treated, or how should they approach their tax process?
Sure. So it depends on their engagement on their work abroad. If they are working as consultants, then they should be able to pay taxes in Lesotho here. Of course, the law provides that there is a tax credit on the taxes that they paid where they are generating that income, because every country is governed by its income tax laws.
Sure.
So any income that they would have generated there, then if it is subjected to taxes, then you are going to compare how much they paid in taxes in those countries and then how much they are supposed to pay now. So meaning that if they were supposed to pay, let's say 20,000 in Lesotho in taxes, and they have already paid 25,000, so they are giving a credit of 25,000. That means they are not going to pay any tax here. But for the employees, if their income is taxable in those countries where they are working from, then the law provides that their income is exempt from taxes.
Okay.
Sure.
And I think just to wrap up their first segment is, for people who contribute to voluntary contributions for retirement, what should they be cognizant of, or what should they know from a tax planning perspective?
Yes, from the tax plan perspective, if you are generating income here, maybe in Lesotho or abroad, and then you are making some contributions to a complying superannuation fund, then if you are doing it abroad, then you may not be able to provide that tax credit, the provision for deduction, because it's not we don't consider it as a compliant superannuation fund provider in Lesotho, but it is within the borders of Lesotho. Then you are given a chance to deduct that contribution from the gross salary. Then whatever remains, then it's taxable income. Then what that means? It means that by the end of, maybe when it comes to the time of your retirement, then that's when that the lump sums that you're going to receive are going to be taxable. However, there are also provisions under the law that such an income must be given an exemption of 25% of your total employment income. So if you have worked for the 30 years, and then we have earning this much, so we are going to take 25% of the 20 or the 30 years that they've been working for, and then we are going to deduct the same amount on your when you get your lump sum payment upon retirement.
Dr. Mohale, thank you very much for the very insightful conversation. We're going to quickly go to an ad break, and the ad break is sponsored. In fact, before we get to the ad break, this episode is proudly sponsored by TKO Financial Wellness and Advisory. We provide financial planning, financial coaching, and tax advisory services. So if you don't know what TKO Consultancy, TKO Financial Wellness is, here's a video to help you understand what we do.
Welcome to TKO Financial Wellness and Advisory, where we confront the reality of the financial stresses that often come with your daily grind. The struggle is real. Employees are investing an additional 13 to 20 hours each month, not only in their professional roles but also grappling with financial concerns. According to a 2023 study by Nedbank, a mere 51% are effectively navigating these financial challenges. In the face of this predicament, we gladly stand beside you as your unwavering partner, recognizing that 62% of South African employees are turning to debt without a safety net. We understand the importance of addressing this issue. Your workforce is the cornerstone of your success, and we are committed to alleviating financial burdens through our innovative programs. Consider us your financial allies, making your financial goals our continued priority. Did you know that over 40% of employed Basotho earn less than 2,500 per month and often make uninformed financial decisions? Join us and we will help you navigate the complexities of managing finances. Imagine tailored financial solutions and transformative educational programs designed to eradicate financial uncertainty. We aren't just consultants, we are dedicated partners accompanying you on your journey to financial freedom. TKO Financial Wellness, where your success is our decisive victory.
Welcome back to the second half of the conversation. As earlier mentioned, I have a second guest in studio from the Revenue Services Authority, Revenue Services Lesotho. And in studio, I have Mematlotliso. So for people who do not know you, please maybe let's start with an introduction of now who you are and also where you come from within the RSL.
Thank you very much, TK. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Matlotliso Tladi from Revenue Services Lesotho, particularly from Client Education Office, where we offer guidance in any issue related to taxes.
Any issue relating to taxes.
Yes.
So let's also start with an icebreaker. Now, what's your relationship with money? What does money mean to you?
It's so complicated. I too do not understand what's happening, but otherwise, I think things were going quite well. The last time we engaged, when you visited us at our offices to offer us guidance and the counseling about the financial issues. But I think after COVID, things just turned upside down. That is why I'm saying that my relationship with money is complicated. I used to do some savings as advised. I used to have some investments. And believe me, I think I need to visit you post-COVID so that at least I try maybe new things to at least have a very good relationship with money, because we do almost everything with money. So if you have that stress when you're about to get your pay, really, it's really confusing. So expect me.
Please do.
I'll be here anytime because I need to enjoy my relationship with money.
You need to improve the relationship with money, which is very, very important. And I think one of the other ways for us to control and enjoy the relationship with our money is being tax compliant. So, for example, the 1st of April till the 30th of June is what we call the tax filing season. What is this season and what is expected of taxpayers in the country?
Thank you very much. As Ndade Mutenalapia said, each and everyone, whether individual, corporates, directors of the company, they are all, as long as you generate income in Lesotho, you're expected to pay tax. So the first thing that you need to do, of course, is to register, and then you'll be able to do your filing. As we have seen, maybe you may be aware, we have been running some campaigns to emphasize the issue of filing online because we are now digital. So we don't expect to see anyone in our offices. Yes. So the filing, what this means is you need to declare all the sources of income. By all sources of income, it could be a business income, it could be your employment income, it could be a property income, any income or other income. That means if you have any other income besides what you are actually registered for, you are expected to also include that income in your declaration. So the filing process says you declare all the sources of income, and then you declare or you deduct all the expenses only related to the income that you generated. So then you'll be able to find out how much profit you made for that financial year, and then the applicable rates will be applied to ensure that you pay the due tax. So you also have to do that by filling up the forms,
The relevant forms.
the relevant forms, depending on what or who you are, what you are registered for. So you also have to fill up those forms. Like I said, you do that online.
Online.
Yes.
So when I do go online, obviously we'll link the website www.rsl.org.ls, right, in the show notes as well. So what documents do I need to complete the online process?
If you're in business, whether a company or a sole trader, you need to ensure that, as you previously used to, you provide the financial statement, which is the statement that shows how much profit was made for that year. That is the statement that is going to show the income and the expenses related to the generation of such income. But if you're an employee, all you need to do is to get what you call tax certificate or P16 or the pay slips for the 12 months, which shows how much salary you earned and how much tax was deducted, even the pension contribution that you discussed within the Dimahali. So what happens is you just need to attach all the relevant documents depending on the type of the tax type you are filing for. Yes.
I think when you mentioned the P16, I've had a lot of employed people, salaried people who watch this podcast or who listen to this podcast, and they believe that the responsibility to file lies with the employer. So maybe talk us through who's responsible for filing. Is it the employer or is it the employee?
As employees, we have the relationship with the employer where we offer the service and then the employer will provide the remuneration. So the responsibility of the employer is to ensure that he will withhold the pay as we earn from the salaries of the employees. However, the employees also have their responsibility. As we said, you need to declare as an individual, you declare the income that you earned. So even as employee, you need to declare the income that you earned for that year. That means you're going to fill up the annual return while the employer fills up the monthly returns to remit the pay as you earn that you collect from the employees. So please make sure that as employees, you also register and then you do your filing. That is going to help you even to check if your employer has been calculating the taxes properly.
So the responsibility ultimately lies with the employee.
Yes.
To make sure that as Tuki saw working for company X, I am responsible. My employer has deducted the correct amount. I am tax compliant, and where there's a deficit or a shortage, I pay or reconcile with the revenue authority.
Yes, and when there is excess, of course, we'll get the refund from the revenue services.
I've received a refund before many years ago. It was exactly 195 malut. So I remember that very, very, very well. Okay, so when is the tax filing season? I mentioned earlier it's from the 1st of April to the 30th of June. How important is it for people to file early?
It is very important. That is why we emphasize on the period that is given for employees or anybody to file. We have from the 1st of April to the 30th of June to prepare your financial statements, to gather all the relevant documents, and then you file. Also, you do the payment if there's any tax payable. So what we are doing right now is we are expecting each and everyone who earned the income to ensure that they file. They have this period from April, 1st of April to June, And then what you're filing for is the year or the financial year 2023-2024, which ended in March this year.
So it starts on the 1st of April 2023 to the 31st of March 2024.
Yes,
That's
that
a
is
year.
the
That's a
year.
filing period.
Yes.
So I have a lot of people who also watch and listen to the podcast, but I've never filed in my life. So they're probably watching this episode or listening to this episode and they're thinking, oh my God, I have not been tax compliant. What do we say to them?
We advise each and everyone to ensure that they comply with the tax laws. It's very, very important because sometimes it can even go as far as to your grandchildren. They bear the burden that their parents left with them. So what is happening right now? We introduced the voluntary disclosure program in 2018, where we said if you have any issues, if you have any income that you never declared and would like the authority to know about it and pay the tax that was supposed to be paid earlier, we are saying you should come forward. You come forward, you declare all the income, everything that you think the revenue service is not aware of. That is very important because it's going to help you even to get the waiver of the additional taxes, which may otherwise have been impacted on the taxes that you're supposed to pay. So if you come voluntarily, we're saying we were not aware of that. In that case, we have not even run any audits to find you. Then the additional taxes will be waived and you will only pay the taxes which were supposed to be paid. We are not going to deduct the taxes, of course, but you'll get the waiver of the additional taxes. And the other benefit is you'll be able to get into the arrangement of how you can make the payment of such tax liability. That is at your own pace, but we have to draw up the agreement. Already you did not declare the income. Yes, we are happy you're here, but how best can you pay this while the business is still operating on the other side?
So I'm thinking, I do the voluntary disclosure. I find out that I should have paid 100,000 Maludi in taxes. You're not going to waive that, but you're going to say 100,000 dinana. We're going to give you a payment plan. Maybe patale 20,000 over a certain period, couple 15,000 Maludi over a certain period. It's
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
And what are the consequences? And I want you to mention most of the consequences, the most extreme one of non-compliance.
Yeah, there are so many consequences as the tax provides. What happens is you will get the assessments. Actually, they are very heavy assessments that will be imposed. And unfortunately, at that time, we won't be saying, how much are you going to pay? How much? This is what you're going to do. This is what you're not going to do. What is supposed to happen is you are going to actually have to pay such amount. Yes, we still understand you will pay it. Maybe you can have the agreement just to ensure that the business still operates, but they are very heavy assessments. The other consequences, anytime you need the tax clearance for any business opportunity that you may need to go into, it's very difficult for you to get one because you have not been compliant. And the most heavy one is, I don't think, we don't like
Jail
that
time.
one. But
Can I
if
go to
in,
jail?
if in any case you are still not complying, even after all the agreements and everything, all the arrangements made for you to comply, then it says the RSL will have to find means to recover such taxes, whether it's by closing up the business and then getting the taxes that we were supposed to pay.
So I
So
could
that
literally
one,
lose my business and
it's
my assets and everything else.
which
if
we
I'm not
don't
tax
want,
compliant.
which we really
Which
don't
we
want to
don't
go.
want.
Yes.
Okay. I think just to wrap up today's conversation, what is the call to action, Kapo? What are the closing remarks to trailblazers who are watching this episode, who have not complied, who have not filed, what are we saying to them?
If you have not been compliant, maybe as an employee, you are not even registered at all, please ensure that you obtain TIN, that is the tax number. You do register with us for you to be able to do the filing, which we have just discussed about. So we are saying, please ensure that you register and then you do your filing online. What needs to be done with the platform that we're using now, you need to register for you to use such platform. So you go to our website, you go to e-services, and then you go to e-tax, which is the platform that we'll be using. It's very, very, very convenient. And then you click register now. That is for you to get the credentials that you're going to use to log into the system, and then you do your filing. If there's any tax payable, there's also the tab pay now on that. We are saying, no, you don't even really need to go to the bank. You just click pay now. But let's be aware that we only use M-Pesa for now. We are still having some discussion with the commercial banks and other networks for them to be engaged in, so that you'll be able to pay with whatever the means you want to pay. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mama Lisa. That was very, very insightful and very, very educational. I actually went on to the e-taxation platform and I saw that pay now and I was like, am I paying again? So if you have not registered, I encourage you to get your tax identification number. I encourage you to go to the website, ask for your P16, particularly when you are a salaried individual. And if you're a business, sit down with your accountant and prepare your financial statements. Tax compliance is very, very important and the consequences can be very dire. So for more information, I'll obviously link the RSL website, which is www.rsl.org.ls in the description notes and the show notes below. You can also listen to this podcast on Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts, and of course, YouTube Podcasts. If you have not filed your tax returns or you're a bit overwhelmed, leave your questions below or leave a comment and let us know what you think about this particular conversation. Guys, about 72% of you are watching this podcast but are not subscribed. So make sure to smash that subscribe button and be part of the Trailblazer community. A big shout out to my creative team behind the camera. Matsuso Photography, yes, Biza Streets for your audio. These guys are very professional and they show up on time. Do not forget that I have a second YouTube channel, which is a lot more fun and not as serious as this one. Escapes with TK, where we talk everything travel, lifestyle, and adventure. And of course, it's also got a podcast, which I'll link in the show notes below. Nademo Hale spoke about how to do your tax calculation, especially from a retirement planning perspective. There's a few articles where I wrote on taxes, which I'll also link in the show notes below so that you guys have an access. And last but not least, we do have the Money Adventures Academy, where we have amazing financial education and personal finance content from online courses, blog posts, a podcast, and many, many episodes to help you navigate the money adventures. And of course, I will link that in the description notes below. Until the next video, be tax compliant, take care of your well-being, and most importantly, thank you to my guests. Shout out to Revenue Services Lesotho for the amazing work that they do. And I will see you guys in the next one. Remember, money is an adventure. Let's enjoy the ride. Cheers and see you in the next episode. Signing out.